Right now we will go deep on the problem because we will have another expert here, Meinhard Kettler. He is experienced in the information industry and is interested in publishing and sales of professional and scholarly content, as well as library and research workflows. He considers himself equipped with analytical, commercial, and communication skills, technical understanding. His main focus regards the changing information businesses and also being interested to get in touch with people and new ideas. He's working for ProQuest since 2015 and facilitating partnerships with universities regarding the theses and dissertations content. He's experienced in academic library and information businesses, having worked in various roles in the information chain for more than 20 years. Mr. Meinhard, please.
Thank you very much for the introduction. Yeah, so I'm very happy to be invited to this panel, although I have to say I'm not an expert in plagiarism. I'm not a scientist and not a librarian, but I work at ProQuest for quite a while in the dissertations business. So we, as you might know, we have a dissertation database, which is unique in the world. And my role is to speak to universities about adding their content to our database. So yeah, here and there, I'm confronted with the issues regarding dissertations, and when we talk about plagiarism, then we very often mean plagiarism in dissertations, as we have heard in the presentations before. And yeah, I learned that this is an issue in Romania, but you can be sure that this is not only the case in Romania, but also in other parts of the world. I'm based in Germany, and you probably are aware of the fact that there were very prominent cases of plagiarism in Germany as well. So ministers had to step back from their positions, and yeah, it was a big topic in the news. And hopefully it is less a topic today, but yeah, we have to be aware of the challenges. That was the wrong button, I think. I'm sorry. So here are a few numbers about dissertations globally. So as you can see here, there are very many of them, and that might be a reason that there is an issue with copyright and plagiarism in the dissertation business. So you see that there are more than 60,000 in 1 year, in 2014, in the US alone. And then there are other productive countries like Germany, United Kingdom, and India, and many more. And there is a development that shows that we will have even more dissertations in the future. So here you can see OECD data about post-secondary degrees from 2001 to 2015. And you see there is a growth everywhere. And so I picked some of the countries that were examined, like the Czech Republic, Hungary, Germany, United Kingdom, and the United States, and also the average OECD figures. These are not all doctoral degrees, but you can assume that there is a similar rise in PhD degrees as well. I talked about dissertations in the beginning, and this is what they call a PhD work in the USA. Unfortunately, there's no real standard also in the terminology. So dissertation in the US is a thesis in the UK and vice versa. So master degree or master work in the USA is a thesis and a dissertation in the UK. So there's a lot of confusion, but when I talk about dissertations, I mainly talk about PhD graduate works. As you can see here, the individual PhD theses even get longer and longer, so there's more and more material. This is taken from ProQuest data and published by an editor in Nature. We had an average length of dissertations of about 100 pages in 1950, and now we have double size, so we have average 200 pages. It seems to not grow anymore, but as you can see here, the volume is quite high, and that is why there is a big challenge of checking all of this vast amount of material. It is no wonder that ProQuest, as a supplier of a dissertation database, believes in the importance of the dissertation as a form of scholarly communication. And this means that works like dissertations and theses, as well as conference proceedings and many other material, is often forgotten because people tend to focus on journal articles in the scholarly communication. But we recently found out in a survey that there is a lot of more diversity, that faculty members say that, or 73% of them in our survey said that they are using dissertations or theses for their research, and even 86% said that they would recommend it to their students for research and for graduation. So we can safely say that dissertations are research, and it's not only a means to push a career. They handle topics very comprehensively and intensively. They identify gaps in literature, and they contain extensive literature reviews, including bibliographies. They uncover recommendations for future research, find new ideas, and also if you look at a collection of dissertations, then you find a lot of material on very uncommon or even exotic topics where there is maybe no other literature at all available. And last but not least, for graduate students, they serve as examples on expected writing style and format, and we see that many students and researchers use our database for that, because they want to see how their fellows in Harvard or Yale, or in general speaking in other countries, do their dissertations and what format they use. So I mentioned our database already. It's called ProQuest Dissertations and Theses, and it's not the largest platform for thesis, but it is a curated repository, and that's important. So we have not only 4.5 million abstracts, but more important is 2.1 million full-text PDFs, so they are fully indexed, and that is what makes our database so unique and useful. And if we look at plagiarism, then it's also useful for plagiarism software tools to use this huge text corpus. We have all the disciplines, master and PhD thesis, from arts, science, medical, social science, humanities, everything. And we do a lot of human editorial. We do not do plagiarism checks ourselves, but we check the metadata, we care for more discoverability, we try to establish metadata in multiple languages, so in the original language and English. And this is how this works. So we get the submission from the authors with PDF abstract and keywords. We do quality checks on missing metadata and quality in general on each and individual submission. We do enhance the data by using more keywords and subject terms from our controlled vocabulary, and then we publish the item in our database. And furthermore, we disseminate via other sources. So there are very important subject indices that expand the reach of university research, because many researchers would first go to these subject indices to search for new and interesting material in their field. And this is why we send the metadata, the title, author, and abstract to these indices to even create more visibility. So all in all, how would it work to distribute a university's thesis collection via ProQuest? We do have a non-exclusive agreement. We do not care if the material is published elsewhere, be it on an institutional repository in open access or with a traditional publisher. And it's important to say that authors and universities keep their copyright, so they have a full control over the material. And we even pay royalties when we do individual sales on print on demand or microfilms. And the main benefit is the exposure, visibility, and even collaboration opportunities for the authors, and also the reputation for the university. All of this is free of charge. And a bit more on our agreement. As I said, it's non-exclusive. There's no restriction. Copyrights are retained. So we, when we collect the material in what technological process ever, so there are different means of how we get the material. We assume in our agreement that the author permission is granted. As I said, the copyright is retained, and there are also embargo options. So not only plagiarism is an issue with dissertations, but also in some cases third-party copyrights. So when there are copyrights in question, then the student can ask for like 6-month embargo, but this depends on the university policy. So we try to reflect the exact university policy in our database. And what is very important in this context is that there is a right to withdraw the item, the work, at any point. So we have a takedown policy, and that means the author can contact us even if his or her dissertation is in our database for already years. Then we would take it down within 48 hours. And the reason can be different, of course. So the author does want to publish this elsewhere, and there is a conflict with the other license. But also it could be that there is plagiarism issue. Then we get a notification from the university, and we would withdraw, of course, this item as well. But fortunately, we have very, very few cases of this. We all know that plagiarism exists, and it will continue to exist, and some of the reasons have already been told. But my perception is that, there is more awareness today on this specific topic, of course. If I look at the countries I go to and talk about this, then there are differences, of course, and there are historical reasons for more or less plagiarism in some countries. But with the electronic availability of documents, it gets harder and harder to plagiarize without being detected, and that's a good thing. On the other hand, as I said, we have more and more material, and we need to really check the quality of everything. So in this particular case, what does ProQuest do regarding plagiarism, the plagiarism topic? At the moment, we have a partnership with Turnitin.com, so we pass on the raw text of dissertations to this company, and they have an anti-plagiarism software as well. So there is a full text originality check, but it also means that the texts of the authors that share their material with us are protected from plagiarism. There's no 100% guarantee, everybody knows it, and the software cannot do everything. We also, everybody needs to be aware who works in this process, and we need human editorial as well. But this is at least something that we do in order to fight this issue. Very shortly, impact of partnering with ProQuest. So I know this is not a commercial presentation, and as I said, the partnership with ProQuest on dissertation is free of charge. But just one little example. We have done a digitization project of old theses for the University of Aberdeen, and here is a thesis on Aristotle and Bacon from 1925. It has been checked out in the library only 3 times after 90 years, and after we have digitized it for the university, it has already been downloaded 30 times. So there still is an impact. And the public availability also helps to fight these issues, I would say. So this is it from my side. Questions are dealt with altogether, I think. Mulțumesc. Thank you very much.